Yo, what's up? What's going on? What's good? The boxing source checking in, and I wanted to know, will Caleb Plant be able to pull off the upset and defeat Saul Canelo Alvarez to win the super middleweight championships? All of them, undisputed. Of course, we got, the fight coming up tomorrow. You have Canelo Alvarez, who is 56, 1-2, comes in there with the WBC, the WBA, and the WBO super middleweight titles, going up against Caleb Plant, 21-0, as the IBF super middleweight champion. Of course, you had the instance where Canelo Alvarez is coming off his knockout win, pretty much a stoppage of Billy Joe Saunders earlier this year that took place at the AT&T Stadium in the Dallas area. While Caleb Plant has, had his fights where he's defended the IBF super middleweight title, with his last one being at the first month of this year against Caleb Truax. He had, pretty much 3 defenses of that IBF title since defeating Jose Uzcategui for that IBF belt. While you have on the other side, of course, Canelo Alvarez that had made his run to, get these super middleweight titles. We had his win, like I said, over Billy Joe Saunders. He had his, win over Callum Smith, which was for the WBC and WBA super middleweight titles. And of course, he had his mandatory defense of that WBC title against Adam Yoderem over in Miami. But this right now is the, probably the highest rated fight that could happen at super middleweight at this moment. Of course, you've seen the weigh-in with Canelo Alvarez making the 168-pound limit. Caleb Plant coming in there at 167 pounds. And you see that Caleb Plant has pretty much had the same attitude earlier today as he's had this whole time since this fight was, pretty much official that he's coming in there to win. He ain't fazed by Canelo Alvarez. He ain't intimidated by Canelo Alvarez. He feels like this is his time to show the world that he is the best super middleweight in the world, probably one of the best fighters in the world. But he's going up against someone that has probably the best resume in the world there in Canelo Alvarez, who, faced the likes of Daniel Jacobs, Sergey Kovalev, Gennady Golovkin, Shane Mosley, Miguel Cotto, Erislandy Lara, of course, Floyd, Little Chavez, as I call him, among others. And has been in the game, since he was pretty much a little kid, around 15 years old or so, fighting in Mexico, building up his record before, he got up to that point where he fought, Floyd back in 2013. And ever since then, he has not lost a fight. Only had that one draw to Gennady Golovkin, but has not lost a fight. And so he's going up against Caleb Plant, who feels like he can't lose to anybody, doesn't know what it is to lose, and really wants to go after Canelo Alvarez. And you seen with Canelo Alvarez, he's like, he sees Caleb Plant, talking all that stuff, talking all that trash, and he's like, yeah, you'll see, he'll see Saturday night. And that he really wants to show Caleb Plant that there's levels to this thing. That's what it looks like we are getting out of Canelo Alvarez, is that there's levels to being here, having a spotlight on you, and being a part of a high-profile fight. This is, of course, Caleb Plant's high-profile fight. Going up against Jose Uzcategui was one thing. Some people pretty much felt like Uzcategui was coming in there as the favorite. But here you have Canelo Alvarez as a considerable favorite to defeat Caleb Plant. Now, of course, you have Canelo Alvarez there at 5'8" with a 70 and 1/2 inch reach going up against Caleb Plant. Caleb Plant's there around 6'1", pretty much, with a 74-inch reach. And the key to me is, will Caleb Plant be consistent with the jab? Not only that, will he be able to move around the ring very well and not get Canelo to close the distance on him? Because if Canelo closes the distance on him, you know very well that Canelo will try to wail on Caleb Plant. That's one thing. You want to get to the point where you'll be able to utilize the ring, use every part of the ring possible to make sure that you score and that you get out of pocket if you're Caleb Plant. Because if Canelo gets on the inside, he's going to throw body shots, pretty much throw left hooks to the body, right hooks, and then right hooks up top. And also, as you see, Caleb Plant still has that little mark on his face from their confrontation in the first press conference where, they had a little scrap or whatever it is, and he got scraped and he got cut. And they had not really patched that up all too well to where it's not really noticeable. But we're going to see if that's going to be a target there for Canelo Alvarez as well. Is it within the line of vision of Caleb Plant? No. But as mentioned before, this could potentially have it to the point where you might see a Vitaly Klitschko, Lennox Lewis style thing here when it comes to the cut. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that, Caleb Plant could be getting at Caleb Plant like Vitaly got at Lennox Lewis before that cut busted up on Vitaly's face. But this is something where you see that Caleb Plant's not intimidated. Like he says, he's not there to get a check. That he's really coming in there to fight and coming in there to win. So you got to watch out there for Caleb Plant here against Canelo Alvarez. But, for me, I just think that if Caleb Plant doesn't have any type of power shot that Canelo respects, then Canelo's going to walk right through him. He's going to walk right through him. And the thing about it is that I'm not sure if Caleb Plant has something that would make Canelo respect him. Because all Canelo has to do is just bite down on his mouthpiece, come forward, and just hit him inside with the right hook, left hook, right hook, and pretty much just break down Caleb Plant. And then we would see if Caleb Plant is able to last for the full 12 rounds and see if he could get himself a win against Canelo Alvarez. But as of right now, I still highly favor Canelo Alvarez to get the win over Caleb Plant to become the undisputed super middleweight champion. But we'll see if Caleb Plant steps up to the plate and gives Canelo a different look, because we've seen that, Canelo has issues with guys that, can jab well, have good speed, and are able to move around very well. We're not too sure about how Canelo can move around the ring. He still has that, the thing with his leg, his knee, still has that issue. So if Caleb Plant could use some good ring generalship and move around the ring well, then he would have a really good shot at this. But he has to stay out of range of Canelo's power shots. Because if he doesn't, then he'll pretty much get broken down and could be taken out of there like a Sergey Kovalev. Sergey Kovalev did very well with the jab against Canelo Alvarez, but once Canelo Alvarez got himself in the inside, he was able to break down Sergey Kovalev and then came up top to finish off, Sergey Kovalev to get that knockout win. Will it be the same here against Caleb Plant? Who knows? I still favor Canelo here in this thing. But I would like to know what you think about this fight coming up Saturday night, undisputed super middleweight title. It's going to be a big one. It's going to be a good one. But You can also subscribe to this channel. We really appreciate it. And we'll have more here for you after the fight. Until then, I'm out. Peace.